Hi friends, I am talking on a topic of teenage parenting and I hope you have seen my last videos. I talked of four distinct A in terms of teenage parenting, and those four A are argumentative, anger, right, and aloneness, and last is about arrogance. So all these four characteristics are there in your teenager. That's what I mentioned to you in my last video on teenage parenting. And in this video I'm going to talk to you on what are the ways in which you can cope up with this different teenage behavior which you are experiencing because of these four A's. It can be anger, it can be arrogance, it can be argumentative nature, or it can be that aloneness, right? The tip number first, or tip number one, which is give space. Give space. You need to realize that your kid has become a teenage, and that's why you need to give space to them. Don't be a helicopter parent in which you're all the time looking at what your kid is doing and trying to always micromanage what they're doing throughout the day, evening time, morning time, and this is what they should do with their friends, their studies. So do not micromanage. Give space to your kids. Give space to your kids. The moment they realize that my parents are every time trying to decide what I should do, what I should not do, and they feel that they're micromanaging, they're trying to be absolutely prescriptive. I would say prescriptive. They're prescribing what should be done at this point of time, afternoon, evening, and every time of the hour. They will really get bored and sick with you. And if you want that nice jovial relationship with your teenager, give space to them, give freedom to them. This is tip number one, very important, because most of the parents I interact, they still have not actually evolved themselves in terms of accepting the fact that their child, that 3-year-old, 5-year-old, or 9-year-old child has become a teenager and they require space. Your kids require space as a teenager. And the moment you evolve this thought that you need to give space to your child, you will have a different feeling in terms of relationship strength and bonding. Right? That's tip number one, which is give space. Give space to your teenager. And number two, which is kind of a follow part of tip number one, but it's a distinct one, is that accept that your teenager will spend time alone. Accept that he or she as a teenager will have different tastes in food, in eating and clothing, and maybe last 2 3 years your kid was not having a distinct taste of music, but they listen to music which is rock, country, jazz, any kind of music which you have never heard of, or rock bands or pop bands which you have never heard of. So the taste will change in music, the taste will change in eating, the taste will change in terms of the way they dress up, the colors they like. So all this is something which is changing in the environment. You need to accept it as a parent. That's tip number two. You need to accept this as a parent. And most of the parents still feel that they should abide. The teenager, the child should abide by their own definition of color, taste, food, clothing, or whatever they like, movies they like, right? And this is where that acceptance has to happen, that they will have a different identity. They cannot be your clone. Remember, they cannot be your clone. They will have their own identity in terms of everything which defines them. And this is the point. They are trying to find their identity. And they do not want to confine their identity that this is what my mama does, this is what my papa does, and that's why I like maybe a particular type of food, taste, music, clothing, or friends, right? So I hope you are understanding this, that tip number two is about accepting that they will have different taste in life, and you need to accept this, that this part is a learning phase of life, this part is a growing phase of life. This is tip number two. Tip number three is very important, which is don't belittle them, don't be sarcastic. Which I mean to say that do not try to belittle them in terms of family members or siblings or their friends and trying to tell them, why can't you do this? You're grown up, you should have done this. When will you grow up? When will you understand this? Don't belittle them, because they are going through their own phase of life, which is very distinct. As I mentioned earlier, between childhood and adulthood, teenage life is different. So don't belittle them, don't be sarcastic with them. Right? This is important because many times we feel that since they're alone, they're spending time on their own, they have different tastes, then you need to put it very straight in a sarcastic manner. Parents feel that if I'm sarcastic, if I belittle them, if I make them slightly humiliated. They may feel that, okay, my kid will understand. That is the wrong way. So tip number three is do not belittle, do not be sarcastic with your teenager, right? So these are three tips I mentioned to you, right? First number is what? First number is actually accepting, accepting things in life. Second is actually not in the order, but second is actually not belittling them, right? And last and important is give space to them. When you give space to your child, they'll realize that my mama, my papa care for me. And these are three important tips in this part of video. I'm trying to tell that this will help to cope with that particular tension, that particular conflict you may have with your teenager, right? So give space to teenager, accept the changes they have, and last is don't belittle them. And if you follow this, you'll be better off in relationship with your teenager, right? In the next video, I'm going to share with you another three important tips in terms of teenage parenting. Stay tuned. I'm on a mission to help a lot of parents become awesome parents. An awesome parent is one who is engaged with kids and also at the same time giving the best habits, value, skill, and mindset. If you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll be sharing a lot of informative, useful, practical concepts on parenting in terms of raising kids, in terms of their studies, habits, screen time, a lot of areas of parenting aspects I cover. So subscribe to this my YouTube channel and see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.